Well, hello there. And today we're going to talk about the real reason why you're stressed and how to fix it. Now, if you are stressed, it can feel like you're lost at sea. That is very frequent. And in fact, stress and that feeling of being lost at sea is the reason why there's so many mental health issues. And unchecked, let's go straight to ground zero, it can lead to suicide, suicidal thoughts and suicide. It all starts with getting stressed and feeling lost at sea. So this video is for you. If you're feeling stressed, repetitive thoughts, stuff going on in your life, or if you're questioning why you're even here, then this video is for you. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to teach you what stress is, how it works, and how you can get hold of it, or at least start to manage it a little bit more effectively. And if you're new to the channel, then I will tell you why I'm qualified to talk about this stuff. So I've been in well-being on and off for over 35 years. I've taught stress management with the UK Stress Management Society. I've been their heart health expert. I've been in well-being. I was frontline nursing on 3 different continents for over 13 years. I've worked in a coronary care ward, amongst other things, and I've worked with people that were facing death. And I've spent more than my fair share of time of people who've not only had suicidal thoughts, but who've actually overdosed during my time as a nurse. So I know what leads people to doing stuff like that, and I understand this zone pretty well. So there you go. There's a bit of my background as what qualifies me to make this video and to have this conversation with you. So let's start off by talking about stress in general. Stress, what is it? What is it? So let's go back to our primal being, your primal being. You are a primal being. So back in the day, in the caveman era, it was a very real thing that you could be chilling out with your family 1 minute and suddenly your life is threatened the next. Now, this isn't to say that this couldn't happen today, but it would happen less frequently today. But your body is set up, your stress response is set up to save your life. It's called flight or fight for a reason, or fight or flight for a reason. There's a reason for it. What happens when you're stressed is your brain sends chemicals to your body to prepare it to either run for your life or to fight for your life. And part of this is it fills your body full of adrenaline. It moves the blood to the essential organs, to your muscles that involve running. So away from your stomach and out to your peripheral muscles. These are just some of the responses, but it's designed to keep you awake. It's designed to keep you alert, and it's designed to keep you alive. That is what your stress response is. It has an altruistic reason for being, raison d'être, or something like that. I don't even speak French. I don't even know what made me even attempt to say that. But the bottom line is, we've got a reason for the stress response, and the stress response is designed to keep you alive. Keep you alive, folks. So let's start with that. So stress will naturally, it will make you feel more alert, make you feel more awake, and it will make you feel more alive. And in small doses, it can be incredibly good for you. It can keep you alive. The trouble is, if you're constantly stressed, then it stands to reason that you're not going to be able to sleep properly. Your appetite is going to be all over the shop, and it's going to have massively terrible effects on you over the long term if you don't manage it. Because the stress response is designed to be a short-term thing to keep you alive when the need arises. Here's the problem that we've got, folks, is that our brain hasn't learned the difference between a threat for our life and somebody pissing us off, or even us pissing ourselves off by thinking of something that happened yesterday, something that happened in the past that keeps repeating new stress response, everyday stress response, waking up thinking about it, full of adrenaline, stress response, every day thinking of stuff that has pissed us off, people that have pissed us off, situations that we're going into, stress response, stress response, stress response. Now, when you're managing that several times a day, that's going to take its toll, folks. And this is why one of the frequent things for people that have unmanaged stress is that they can't sleep. Well, that's because it's designed to keep you alive, folks. If you fall asleep, you could get eaten by a T-Rex. You know, that your appetite is up and down. Well, it's designed to move blood away from your stomach, which will make it hard to digest stuff if you're trying to eat when you're stressed, give you digestion issues, give you weight issues. It's going to give you a lot of issues with regards to eating food. Because when you're stressed, when you're trying to keep alive, you're not designed to want a meal. That's how it works. That's how your brain works. That's how your physiology works, folks. And when you've got stress, there's two things you can do with stress. So let's look at stress. It's like a bridge. It's like a bridge. And if you keep putting the weight on the bridge, it's going to collapse. So issues are weight on the bridge. And when that happens, you can either lighten the load on the bridge or you can support the infrastructure of the bridge. So the support infrastructure of the bridge is resilience, folks. You build resilience, you build techniques, you build better ways to identify the stress and ways to navigate your way out of it. But that's pretty advanced. So we're going to cover a little bit of that in this video. But the main thing is the stress on the bridge. And what I found is the kind of things that give you daily stress. We're not just talking one-off incidents here. I've checked this over time, and the type of things that can give you daily stress are being trapped or thinking that you're trapped in a toxic relationship where you don't love the other person, but you might be stuck in it because you're telling yourself, well, we've got a mortgage, I can't afford to move out. If you're stuck in that on a daily basis, living with someone you don't love, that's stress every day. Every time you think about it, more stress, more stress, more stress, and it accumulates. It's like a tidal wave. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and one day you're flooded, one day it overwhelms you. And the same with a job. People get caught in jobs that they don't love. They hate their boss. They've got passive aggression at work. People are pissing them off. All of these things, building, 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 tidal wave. That's how it tends to work, folks. And the reason I know this is because the people that used to come in with strokes, heart attacks, and cancer, the one question that I used to ask them, they're like, no warning signs. What caused this? And the thing I used to tell them they didn't usually like, told them that you caused this. And they're like, how could I possibly have caused this? And the question that always triggered the solution, I used to ask people what's caused them elevated stress in the last 6 months to 1 year. And they could always tell me straight away. There was always something of amplified stress where you're going on a daily basis, every day, every thought. Now, just imagine somebody punches you and breaks your nose. That hurts. That hurts and it impacts you and it bruises and batters and injures you. It injures you physically and mentally. Every time you think of it beyond that, your nose might have healed now. But if, say, a month down the line, you think about it and you think, why did I let that happen? That bastard, blah, 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 blah. That's you doing the same injury to yourself again. It's like letting somebody punch you in the nose again, because that memory triggers the stress response and you'll get all of the physiological symptoms that you did the first time that you were punched. And that's the reality of it, folks. You have let yourself be punched again by thinking of it again and again and again. And it turns into a battering, a daily battering. It's an abusive relationship that you have with yourself when you refuse to let go of stuff. that you keep bringing it up in your head and it remains unresolved. Stress, more stress, more stress, more stress. Same job, hate it still, hate it every day. Now, the bottom line is, and I used to have this conversation, and usually they had to have a heart attack or a stroke before they would even take me seriously. And even then, they wouldn't be taking me seriously. Interestingly enough, when people had heart attacks and strokes, the first question that they wanted answering is, when can I get back to work? And quite often it was work that caused them to be in there in the first place. And they want there for the money. They want the money to pay for the house so that they can have their kids there. And then the kids would come in. I don't see my mummy or my daddy. They are at work all the time. And suddenly there's this huge final meltdown, this blow up of communication that's been stunted over the ages, where somebody tells themselves, I have to go to work because I have to pay for the mortgage for my family. And yet at home, the family's there thinking, well, I never see this parent. I wish that they would spend more time with us. And it usually transpires that the family would rather live in a slightly smaller house and have more access to their mum or their dad. And these communication dynamics, they break down, that people take on the stress thinking, I have to pay for this house. When push comes to shove and you realize that the house is at the root of all of the problems here, and staying in the job to pay the mortgage, the job that you hate, that is dragging you down and giving you a stress response every day, that's causing it. The thing that causes you stress, not just the cause, but the thing that you're thinking about day after day after day after day. Stress response, stress response, stress response. Fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight. And you can only have those. It's like the boy that cried wolf. Your brain is telling your body, stress, fight for your life, fight for your life. And you could be sat at a desk. And here's some of the symptoms. Things that can cause stress, that can trigger it, like road rage. Somebody cuts you up, fight or flight. You can't move anywhere. That's why you flame up and get all stressed. Slow internet access. Oh, I've got to send this email. Click, 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 click. Stress. In this day and age of quick fixes, it's so much easier for people to get stressed. So much easier. So we've talked about the cause there, and hopefully that's given you some sort of foundation as to the reason. Every time you think of something that pisses you off, stress response. And if you're doing that on a daily basis, then you are teeing yourself up for a serious health issue in the future. It's one of the primary warning symptoms of a major health alert, or a major health meltdown usually starts with continuous stress on a daily basis. So there you go. We've looked at the cause. So let me give you a technique now. If you catch yourself, you're stressed, the internet won't send, click, 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 click. Ah! We've all been there, folks. We all know it. We all know that zone. It's entirely unproductive from a well-being point of view. You're not achieving anything by getting pissed off by it. It's not going, the only thing that's probably going to happen, you'll end up smashing your laptop and it's going to cost you a load more money and then cost you more stress and time. So I'm going to give you something now that is going to help you. I'm not going to say it's going to work every time, because you have to remember to do it and you have to do it. So for people that are regular with my channel, you'll know this. For people that aren't, here you go. It's very simple, folks. Your breathing controls your mood. When we get stressed, we're usually hyperventilating, not breathing properly, not getting proper oxygen to our brain. We're like running, getting ready to fight for our life in that fight or flight zone. It's, we're lost in the sea. We're lost in the sea. What you can do is catch yourself and take a deep breath and hold it for as long as you can. This is how to catch yourself and to start the reversal process, because your breathing controls your mood. Start with a deep breath. Just catch yourself. Resist the urge to respond to anything now. Whatever's going on in that moment, ask yourself, is it worth my life? Because that's what it's cost. That's what it will cost if this goes unmanaged through the passage of time. Start with a deep breath in. Hold it. Slowly breathe it out. Now you can slowly start to regulate your breathing. That's how you start to reverse the process. Now, the longer you stay and you work on your breathing and even take a time out, detach from what you're doing. So getting stressed is like being caught with an electric current burning your arm. The first thing you have to do is detach from the source. So whatever's causing you stress, if it's a situation, walk away, get out, exit, beam me up, Scotty, exit stage left, get out. Get out of the situation that's causing you the stress in the first place. Detach. That's the first thing. The breathing part, you can do that during the time. Hopefully you get out quickly. That's your first priority, but the breathing can then help you to regulate. Now, if you're caught in a work situation or a home situation, get out for a walk. Just leave the situation, go out for a walk. Just get out, detach. Walking's good for you. Being in nature's good for you. Working on your breathing is good for you. And you can do all of those when you go out for a walk. But the point being to have a strategy to catch yourself in the stress mode and to reverse the symptoms. And if for any reason you can't leave the room or you can't get out or you're working, you're doing something important, you're breathing, catch yourself, deep breath, hold it, slowly breathe out. Just keep deep breathing, and resist the need to respond to anything unless it's an emergency or something you have to give a response. But if you're finding that it's flaring up between you and a colleague or a partner, it's petrol on a fire, folks. Never, all it's going to do is inflame the situation. And maybe you're feeling it. Maybe you're ready for a fight. Maybe that's what you want. You've reached your limit. It's time to roll up your sleeves. Well, I can't stop you going down that route if you're going to do it. But I'm going to suggest that you want to get out or you want to work on your breathing because these are practical things that can start to turn your mood around. Now, if you want a more long-term solution, you need to evaluate the relationship with your job and with your partner. Because if you're not planning some sort of exit strategy from a toxic job where you're stressed every day or a toxic relationship where you're stressed every day, it will lead to a hospital bed. I promise you that. Absolutely promise you that that is the ghost of Christmas future for you folks. You can bury your head in the sand for so long, but if your sleep's going, if your blood pressure's going up, it will lead to diabetes or something of that ilk. Your medical symptoms will get worse and worse because you're stressing yourself every day and putting yourself in a flight or fight zone. And you don't want to be there unless it's an emergency, folks. So I'm sorry for this slightly gloomy and doom-ridden video, but I can't over impress on you how important this is. This is why so many blokes commit suicide, caught in a death spiral. And when truth comes out, when push comes to shove, if you've got kids, they would rather that you be alive. And whatever reason you're keeping for staying in a toxic relationship or a toxic job, is it worth your life? Because that is what you'll eventually be trading. And the damage of a heart attack is irreversible, folks. So I'd rather you didn't have to have one to wake up to this dynamic. But I hope that helps, folks. And look, I'm here for you to give you resources, to give you more information. This is just an entry-level stress management talk that I'm giving to you now. If you're new to the channel, there's going to be a whole load more resources if you look through my videos to give you more techniques to help you on this journey. more insights, you can like and subscribe, and that will definitely help you. And if you want more content, well, there'll be another little video for you there to watch, folks. And if you've got any questions, ask away. And more importantly, if you're not going to ask me, speak to somebody about this.